Good evening, everyone. I hope you're doing absolutely fantastic wherever you are, and welcome to another live stream. Now, I'm saying another live stream, but it was actually, I think, a few years since I did a proper live stream here on Mentour now. But for those of you who have been paying attention, me and Ben, who's also here, actually did a few kind of live stream parts when we did our course about the 737 virtual type rating course that we did about, I don't know, how many months was that going on, Ben?
Got to be, 6 months now since the last one?
Yeah. So Ben is a colleague of mine. We have exactly the same experience. He is still a type rating examiner on the Boeing 737. He is an active pilot, and he is one of my best friends. So I am super, super happy to have you with me, Ben. And today,
likewise.
Today we're going to do something really cool. So obviously, Microsoft have just released this new flight simulator, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. And in it, we have a default 737 MAX variant. Now, I have flown the MAX myself. And when did you last fly the MAX, Ben?
I flew it a few hours ago. I actually flew it this morning.
So what we're going to do today is that we are going to let this baby rip and see how good it is, if it is any good, what kind of obvious differences it is from real life. And we're going to take it on a short flight here from Stansted over towards East Midlands, which is a very, very short flight indeed. Typically, it's something that we would do during a diversion, for example. Now, one thing that I want to make clear here, guys, is that when we do this in our virtual 737 course, we go through every single thing that we do in detail and we explain it. And this course is available for you. It's more than 10 hours of instruction from me and Ben, and over 13 hours of bonus material with loads of extra explanations and stuff. And you can get it now during this weekend. We are reducing the price with almost 30%. So from now until the end of Monday, the 2nd of December, this price will be available for you. So you can just scan the QR code if that's something that's interesting. But let's get to it, Ben. What we're going to do?
Absolutely. Welcome, everyone. It's great to be here with so many of you from all over the world. So, yeah, today we've jumped into the MAX. Petter's looking a little bit different there. You got the zombie eyes on, but yeah, I was parked just about there a few hours ago, and we're going to be putting this new bit of software through its paces. I know it's controversial. The Microsoft Flight Sim 2024 hadn't had the smoothest of launches. And we're in the MAX. We both know the MAX, and we're going to take you guys through this, and we're going to see how it performs. We're just going to I haven't really got any experience on this particular bit of software. So I've just come off the thing. So I'm going to compare this to what it's really like. We're going to pick out little differences. Hopefully it's going to work all the way through to East Mids. And you're joining us here where we've just pushed back. We've done all of the prep, done all of the before start checks, and now we're in a position where we're going to be starting the engines. And that's really because that's where the real differences between the 737 NG and the MAX start to happen. So we're going to be taking you through that. It does take a while in real life. I do like flying the MAX. The only downside for me, I don't know about you, Petter, is just how long it takes to start the engines.
I mean, starting the engines on this thing, when you're used to the CFM 56s of the 737 NG, is literally like watching paint dry. Like, it is the worst thing, especially when you know that there are other people in the ramp that is awaiting pushback as well. And you can almost hear them frown. And I know it myself. Like, if you had a MAX pushing ahead of you, when you're just about to push, you would almost scream in the cockpit because it'll take another 6 minutes before you're on your way. And it can cause some problems when you have a tight slot, for example, that you're waiting for.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how many slots I've missed this summer because I'm sitting here watching it do its thing, and air traffic are going, "Are you ready for taxi?" And you're like, "No." You just got to wait, and it's just so painful. But we'll talk you through it. We'll talk you through why it's different and what we're looking for as we start this. So what we're going to do, I'm going to act as pilot flying in the right seat. Petter's looking a bit dubious over here on the right, and he's going to be reading the checklist. Also, he's going to act as air traffic just to kind of give it another depth of realism here. So let's say we've just pushed back, we've set the parking brake, and we're now ready to start engines.
Perfect.
We've called for clearance, and air traffic have given us clearance to start engines because we've already done the push and start. And what I would do now is I would contact the ground crew down there, And I would say flight deck to ground.
Go ahead, flight deck.
Can it just confirm we can start engine number 2?
Affirm, you're clear to start engine number 2.
Okay, so should we do the before start checks below the line? I'm just going to do my flow. So we do it as a flow first of all. That would already be on. That's set and that's set. Yeah, so Peter, when you're ready.
Yeah.
Before start checks below the line.
Thank you. Before start checks below the line. Air conditioning packs.
Off.
The anti-collision line.
On.
Parking brake.
Set.
Transponder.
Is out off.
Perfect. That's the before start checklist complete.
All right, so I'm just going to talk you through what we're going to do. So the first thing we're going to do is move the start switch to ground. That's going to duct the air into the engine, and we're going to start the engine, and we're going to point out exactly where things get different to the NG. So, Paddy, you ready?
Yeah, well, I mean, one thing that stands out already is the fact that we're seeing some red and yellow values on the engine instrument. So that's a little bit buggy. You'd only see that really if you'd had an engine exceedance on the previous flight, and it will show that to alert you. So this they should all be white at this point. It
should all be white. I've tried reloading the sim. I've not flown it. It's just there. So we'll see how that goes. In real life, we would be back on stand calling engineers, but let's see how this works, and we're going to go from there. So if it's all clear on your side, I'm going to start engine number 2. So starting 2.
Clear, right?
And what we're going to see is, so you can see now the N2, so the inner part of the engine is going to start spinning now. Got the start valve open. Got N1, so the fan at the front is starting to spin.
Oil pressure?
Oil pressure is building. And in a minute, around 20%, you're going to see something say motoring. And that's where it now gets different. And in real life, it will hold the N2 at about 23, 24%, and it's cooling the core. It's called BRM, bowed rotor motoring. Once that disappears, which is done, I'm going to bring the start switch to idle. Fuel is going to start flowing. It actually takes just over 10 seconds for that to happen. That's the first difference. And this is a lot. I wish it was this fast in real life.
Yeah. Now, yesterday, when we tried this last time, it took ages, didn't it?
Yeah. I mean, today, it took me coming out of Rome, when the engines were warm, it took two and a half minutes to start the first engine. So it should cut out. In the NG, it cuts out at 50, 55, 56. But now in this, it should cut out 63%. Let's see. So that's already cut out. So that looks like it's done it very much like the NG. So that's not quite right. So we've got the starter cut out.
So starter cut out.
Okay, monitor engine number 2.
And engine number 2, we got 2563. Engine number 2 stabilized.
That looks pretty decent. And yeah, those red and yellow boxes have gone, so that's a good sign. So flight to the ground, can we start engine number 1?
You're clear to start number 1, sir.
All right, so we are all clear on the left. Okay, so let's start engine number 1.
And by the way, anyone who sees that there's any kind of lag or anything in this stream, it's not us, it's Microsoft.
Yeah, ours is fine here. It seems to be an issue. Anyway, we've got N2.
Oil pressure.
N1. Motoring. So that we'd normally be motoring up to 90 seconds, up to a minute and a half watching that happen. But once that disappears and we're above 24 at 25% N2, so it's still motoring, it's cooling it down, it's letting that core of the engine straighten up, that rotor shaft straighten up, because it bends due to the residual temperature. This is a bit more realistic.
Yeah, this is more like it. I mean, it's because the engine is so it's so efficient now that all of the internal components they've made them leaner, smaller, lighter, and part of that comes with these kind of things. The fact that the whole rotor needs to be straightened out. The whole
Yeah, it does just take. Now, normally, once you bring that start lever in, it does a bit of a self-test. It takes 10 seconds, and then you start to see the fuel flow. But again, I think this is much more modeled on the NG looking at this, apart from the motoring bit. But it's spooling up nicely.
Cool, there we go.
And what we're looking for here, really, see this little red line here? This is the EGT, the exhaust gas temperature maximum start limit. So we're making sure that it doesn't start rapidly increasing up to that. It's gone starter cutout.
Starter cutout.
Monitor engine number 1.
Okay, so we've got 2, 5, 6, 3, and the red starter limit is gone. So engine number 1 stabilized.
Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to put if I just pop the electrics on first of all, and we turn the APU off. And I would say to ground crew, yeah, we've got 2 good starts. You're cleared to disconnect the headset. Hand signals on the right with the pin.
Perfect. Disconnecting the tog in the toolbar. See you on the right with the pin. Have a nice flight, sir.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye. And we would wait for them to go and we give them a wave. And once we're happy, everybody's away from the airplane, we would go into our flows. So we've already got the generators on. We put our start switches into, if it will let me do it. Let's see. Yeah, it does. Good. Into continuous. Probe heat, that heats up the airspeed, the pitot probes. We don't need the anti-ice today, unlike this morning. We're going to put the air conditioning on. And we're going to put that in auto. We turn that off, and that's that. We bring the flaps now down to 5.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea. By the way, I see there's a lot of my patrons here. I just want to wave. Great to have you here. We had a great hangout yesterday. For 2 hours, we were sitting and answering questions and stuff. So great to see you here again, guys.
Awesome. And we do a flight control check. So we go fully forward. Make sure you're sitting nice and back there, pedal all the way back. Full left, breathe in, full right, and rudders going full left, center, full right, center. And have we got a recall that's checked? So before taxi checklist.
Perfect. Before taxi checklist. So generators.
On.
APU.
Off.
Start switches.
Continuous.
The probe heat.
On.
Anti-ice.
Off.
Air conditioning.
Pax auto, bleeds on.
Isolation valve.
Auto.
Flaps.
Okay, so we've got 5 required, 5 selected, and the green light
Stabilizer trim.
is 5.0 units required, 5.0 set.
Start levers.
Idle D10.
Flight controls.
Checked.
And the recall.
Is checked.
Well, I mean, up until this point, like you said, it looks like the engine start is kind of moduled on the 737 NG. It doesn't really follow what it would do on the Max.
No.
But apart from that, so far, so good, I guess.
Yeah, so far so good. The FMC, when I loaded it, seems fairly decent as well. There's a few bits missing, and we'll probably find a few more when we go flying. But yeah, it seems to be an NG start with a little bit of motoring thrown in. But, it's not too bad.
It's fair enough, fair enough. And once again, like we are rushing through this now because we want to do this flight over to East Midlands. But if you want to get single one of these steps explained to you, then there's the QR code, and we have the course available for you for 30% discount now for the Black Friday week. So let's get this thing in the air, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it. So let's call for taxi. So Butter 01 requests taxi.
Butter 01, continue straight ahead and then turn to holding point runway 22 via taxiway Sierra or Romeo, your choice.
Okay, taxi left to taxi holding point Sierra runway 22, Butter 01. Okay, let's go. So we are clear on the left.
We're clear on the right.
We'll put some lights on so people can see us, and we're going to get the brakes off. Let's just do a quick config check to make sure we've not missed anything. So fully forward, fully back config. Check. And we get moving. Now the Max, one of the things that is different with the Max compared to the NG is that the engines are bigger and they produce a lot more residual thrust. So even at idle thrust, when you're heavy, as soon as you take the brakes off, it just wants to go.
Yeah, I know.
It really does. I mean, this, again, I'm having to add thrust to get this moving, which you just don't do in the Max. If anything, it's, you have to let it accelerate. It's got the carbon brakes. You just slow it down, come off the brakes, let it accelerate again. But we just try and minimize that brake wear. And okay, so we're coming up left here to Charlie. I think what we'll do, Pedro, we'd normally run the checks here before takeoff checks to the line, but because I'm doing this single pilot, so I don't end up on the grass.
What do you mean single pilot? I'm here.
Yeah. I've flown with you before, Petro. I know how dodgy it is. So.
Yeah. I knew you would take that. I knew you would bring that up. That was just one day, dude.
It still haunts me. So, right. So let's go off here.
By the way, Navin, there's some people in the chat saying that they can't scan the QR code. Can you get the link to it up in the chat, maybe, so people can use it?
Yeah, we could leave it up for a little bit. I mean, this is the cheapest we've ever done it. Plus an extra, we're more than doubling the content in there. So rather than the 10 hours, there's like almost 24 hours of content that just gives almost every aspect of the operation that we do in normal days. So there's a lot of great content in there.
Best 24 hours of your life.
Yeah. It's awesome. It's awesome. There's some great people in there as well from all over the world. It really is a very cool course. Right, so we're going to go up to Sierra 1 and we'll just bring it to a stop up here.
Good. So I'll be, obviously, as a first officer in the right seat here, I'll be making sure that we're following the correct taxi route. I'll be checking now to see if there's any any traffic on final. And normally we would be running the before takeoff checklist here. But like Ben is saying, since he's running this by himself on his computer, you're running it on a PC version, right?
Yeah, this is the PC for everyone. Yeah, in case you're Xbox, this is a PC. I don't know the difference, how much it differs. I would imagine, because this is a native aircraft, I'd imagine it's pretty much the same.
Yeah, I would say so.
Right, so shall we do the before takeoff checks to the line?
Before takeoff checklist. So config.
Checked.
Flaps.
Okay, so we've got 5 green light.
I love how you have to look for that flap indicator. Now, obviously, this is a big difference from the NG. So the NG, you will have 6 screens, so you always know where your engine instruments are. But on the Max, you have to switch them depending on who's pilot flying and depending on the airline you're flying for. So that just means that some pilots will be just constantly looking for that flap indicator. Yeah,
you can see their eyes darting, particularly when we're doing like the Max conversion course, the training. They're like, where am I looking? It does take a bit of getting used to.
Yeah. All right, so stabilizer trim.
Okay, so 5 units required, 5 units set.
The takeoff briefing.
Okay, so the packs are auto, the bleeds are on, the anti-ice is off. There's no emergency turn, we'll call it here in Stansted. The speeds are 127, 127, 141. And the departure goes out to 3.1 miles, right turn to Barkway VOR, stopping at 4,000 feet, which is set. The squawk I can't change, but that would be in. That is anything you want to add, Petter?
No, not really. One thing that I will add, just for people to understand, is that we have already gone through most of the briefing for the departure, for the destination we're going to East Midlands. It's something that you would do if you did a really short flight. You go through the threats, if there's an airport brief, we'll go through that, and we would probably look through most of the arrival route as well, because there's just not enough time to do a proper briefing in air. So we're going to do a shortened briefing once we're in the air here. And that's the reason why. And by the way, these checklists that you can see on the screen now, all of these checklists together with the procedures, scan flows, profiles, everything else is provided to you in PDF form in the course that we were talking about before.
Yeah, there's huge. You get all of the profiles, so you can follow it exactly. You print them off, get your checklists, and you also get things like your Madeira, your Category C airport qualification, your Cat 3 approaches.
Not even I am not qualified to do that. You are qualified to do Madeira. I've never done that simulator course, so I'm not allowed to fly there.
It's 4 hours of bumping around in a level D sim, doing wind shears and terrain escapes, and you get to see some of that in the pro course. You get your own virtual Madeira qualification based on the real thing, so it's great.
Okay, let's get rid of the checklist now and get going. So we're just waiting for cabin.
Yeah, so cabin, they would get, once the cabin have done their bits, they would give us the cabin secure signal, and we would just put that on to remind us that the cabin is now secure.
Perfect. So that's before takeoff checklist complete, down to the line.
Okay, so I will call ready. So Butter 01, we're at Sierra 1, fully ready.
Butter 01, you are clear to line up and wait. Runway 22, call back when ready for departure.
All right, so I'm going to do the FO's job here, if I can get that to work. So when I'm lining up now, I turn my weather radar on. It's a nice day here in Stansted, but I would say, Petter, confirm the readback.
Yep, we are clear to line up and wait, runway 22.
Okay, so we are clear left.
And clear right.
And if I just... Does that work? Yeah, it does work. Good, it does work. Okay, good. So LNAV works. So let's go below the line, shall we?
Before takeoff checks below the line, MCP
is set.
Transponder
is TARE.
The strobe lights
on.
Holding on landing lights.
Roger. And we leave that taxi light off just as an aid memoir to remind us that we've not been cleared for takeoff yet. So we just leave that there. So if we look up, we know we haven't been cleared. But if any doubt, we would always clarify it with air traffic anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, let's see, get this round the corner.
Cool.
Yeah, the nose wheel steering isn't brilliant on this, I have to say.
Did you sort out the trim issue that we had last time we tried it?
Yeah, it seems to just load it very strangely. I did one, I've only flown this once before, and we found that the takeoff trim setting, it wanted to start flying at like 80 knots, which is crazy.
No, you don't want that.
It turned out that it chucked, I think, about 6 tons of freight right down at the very back and the stab was way out of limits. But so far, let's see. We'll see how this goes. So we're going to fly this. I'm going to get the autopilot in, and we'll just talk you through it. Now, it's going to happen quickly. There's a lot happening here, and these are using real-world procedures. But again, we break all of this down into its component parts, obviously in the pro course. So we're ready to go, Peter, if you are.
Yep. And Stansted, Butter 001 ready for departure.
Yeah. Butter 01, clear takeoff 22. Surface wind is 2205 knots.
Clear for takeoff from with 22, Butter 001.
And we'll complete the checks.
Thank you. So landing lights.
They are on.
The before takeoff checklist complete.
All right, let's see. What could possibly go wrong? Let's give this a go, shall we? All right, so we've got 222, 223. We check the runway is correct. We bring it up to 40%, which normally takes forever, but that happens super fast. So we'll
stabilize.
Okay, so I'm going to press toga, set takeoff thrust.
Okay, I'll be verifying that the outer throttle sets the takeoff thrust correctly. So I'll say, oh, well, we have a master caution there.
Yeah, we would reject. I think that's the weird bleed thing that it does.
Yeah. So the takeoff thrust set indication is normal. 80 knots.
Checked. And if you look at how low the M1 is for the max, normally for a takeoff M1, you'd never see that in the NG. It's super low.
So V1 and rotate.
It's a little bit twitchy. And gear up.
Positive rate and gear up.
So now I'm just following the flight directors. We're waiting for about 400 feet above the ground, and I'm going to confirm that we've got LNAV. So there's LNAV.
LNAV.
And I'm just following the flight directors now. We're tracking the runway centerline. And we're coming up to about 1,300 feet. I'm going to engage an autopilot. So there's coming up now. I'm going to bravely take my hand off, go Command Alpha, and we check that it says Command.
I thought
and now I'm going to begin the acceleration. So I'm going to bug. What we say bug up. What we mean is there's a little magenta bug. We're going to move it to where it says up, and that's our flaps up speed. And then we can start retracting flaps.
I thought you would never get that autopilot in, man.
Yeah, it's definitely in. There it is.
Finally.
It's too scary. Right, so we're climbing out to 3.1 miles. Once it starts accelerating, which it should do, it's being a bit slow to accelerate. I'm going to try level change and see whether that will make a difference. Yeah, now it's pitching down.
Yeah, that's definitely a bug.
Yeah, so let's go flap 1, shall we?
Speed checks. So I'm just verifying that we're above the white bug. And flaps 1.
And flaps up.
Speed checks, flaps up.
Okay, so here we go. There's 3.1 miles, which is not showing on here, but we can see it is on here. It starts the right turn towards Barkway. It's being reluctant to climb, but it's slowly thinking about it.
Perfect. And we are coming up to 1 to go.
Check. So I'm going to go vertical speed so we don't start rocketing up. So vertical speed, 1,000 feet per minute with 1,000 feet to climb.
Yep. And we have the flaps are up, no lights.
Yeah, so pedal flaps up, no lights, once we get to about, which is where we are. Now, I would call then for the after takeoff checklist, which the FO in the right seat or the pilot monitoring would now complete, and then we would run the checks together.
Yeah, so I would look up, and here it's really important to verify that the air condition and pressurization is properly set. So we'll check that the cabin differential pressure is increasing, the cabin altitude is increasing, but not that much, because you want to make sure that it's pressurizing. Have a little bit of a cabin climb, the bleeds are on, the packs set to auto, and the isolation valve generally is auto as well, and the temperatures looks pretty much okay. So it's a quick check of the air conditioning and pressurization, and I will do this silently. So I will call it out, but the pilot flying does not need to be included in this. Then, providing we don't need the NTIs, we put the start switches over to off, so from continuous over to off. And here comes a bit of a difference, right? On the NG, when you move the landing gear, at this point, you put it from up to off. But obviously, in the Max, you have an electronic switch here. So here, you just verify that it's up. This is a threat, because if you're used to flying the NG, you're used to just handing over and moving that. And if you do that here, you're going to actually extend the gear, which you do not want to do, all right? Do not want to do that. So you just have to really think before you do it. So landing gears up. Auto brake, turn it from RTO to off, flaps, verify up, no light, and then I will call out altimeters.
Okay, we're currently on 1013, maintaining 4,000 feet.
Perfect, that's the after takeoff checklist complete. Generally speaking, if we climb into flight level, we would wait with altimeters until we're cleared to flight level, but we're doing a short flight now, we just want to get it over with.
Yeah.
Butter 001, continue climb now, flight level 130.
Climb now, flight level 130, butter 01.
And Butter 01, what's your requested level today?
Requesting flight level 120, please, butter 01. And just confirm the cleared altitude.
Butter 01, continue then. Stop your climb at flight level 120.
Climb flight level 120, butter 01, thank you. So that's set.
And flight level 120 is checked.
Okay, let's set standards. That doesn't work. So normally you can press the standard button and it would automatically change it to the standard pressure setting, which we happen to be on anyway. I'm going to try VNAV. I'm going to be brave. I'm going to delete the restriction in here. Out intervene doesn't work. So I'm going to delete the restriction.
Yeah, so
execute it.
I mean, this is a little bit irritating. The fact that some buttons doesn't work, you know, like you would expect them to be able to model that by now.
Yeah, I'm going to see. I mean, let's see. So VNAV's gone. It's gone to VNAV out, which isn't correct.
We've got a master caution there as well.
Yeah, I think it's the bleed. It's master caution air conditioning. I'm just going to show you what it does. For some reason, it keeps going with the bleed, which means that the bleed valve is failed and it's closed. That's a glitch, 100%.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you're supposed to be able to use VNAV. You're supposed to be able to use altitude intervent. These are not new things. These are things that was in the NG as well.
Yeah. There's no difference. The VNAV in this is called common VNAV, which means it's the same VNAV across the entire Boeing fleet. The NG, MAX, 777, 74. They all use the same VNAV now. So it's nothing new in the MAX, and it just doesn't work. So I'm going to use level change, which is a more manual kind of mode, but it works. There's the master caution again. We're going to ignore that for this flight today.
Yeah, do not do that at home.
Do not do that. No, not a good idea. All right, so cool. Now that's kind of, we're climbing up pretty rapidly, and we get a good view of this is kind of London over here at the moment. It's a stunning day to be flying in the UK today. Actually, I had the most.
This is the kind of day that you want to do a short flight between Stansted and East Midlands. Like I physically want to do that right now.
yeah. It's when you know I'm normally locked up in a dark sim training people. So, but this week I've had 5 days of flying. They let me out, and you know when you're flying, like you forget how much you enjoy it. You know, I'm not going to lie and say the 3:20 in the morning alarm didn't wear thin by today after 5 days of that time, but once you're flying, it's you just can't beat it.
Yeah, keep telling me that, dude. I haven't flown. I haven't operated for 18 months now, which is the longest I've ever gone without flying, and I can feel it, physically feel it when I watch this.
Yeah, you do. You kind of miss it. You do, don't you? And I mean, sometimes we go for quite a while without flying because we're so busy in the sims doing type ratings. You do kind of miss it, and it's great, especially on a beautiful day like today. It really is. It's great.
And we have to say something about the graphics. Like the graphics are stunning. There's no question about it. This is unreal.
Yeah. I mean, I literally came this way on the way back in a few hours ago, and it looks exactly the same. You know that thing. I don't think you can really knock that.
Altimeters.
Okay, passing 10-2, climbing flight level 120, and we'll do what we call now the 10 checks. And again, that's something we really cover in detail. It's an important one in the pro course. But Peter, we'll go through that now.
Yep. So fuel, we've got loads. Now we actually don't have that much fuel. So 4 pumps on because we only have fuel in the 2 center tank. In the 2 main tanks. So 4 pumps on. Lights, we will then turn off a couple of lights here. Those are basically on only during below 10,000 feet to be seen by VFR traffic and so on. Yeah. So that's fuel, lights, APU is off. You want to release the passengers?
Yeah, we can let them go. It's nice and smooth.
Yeah, they might need to run to the toilet on this 15-minute flight.
Yeah.
And then pressurization again. Verify that the pressurization now is correct. It should indicate about 20 past 12. If the pressurization indicator was a clock, it should say around 20 past 12. That means that you've got the diff pressure up about, what is it? That is 4.5, 5 psis, and the cabin altitude has just barely started to climb. Yeah,
we've hardly climbed at all.
Yeah, so that should be about 1 to go as well.
Yeah, we're just leveling off actually. Yeah, there we go.
Perfect. And then a recall.
Okay, let's just check it. Make sure nothing nasty is going on. That looks good.
10 checks complete. And Butter 001 continue. Well, you're actually clear to disregard.
Yeah. Here we are. So what I do now is a short flight. We're going to keep the speed back a little bit because we want a bit of time, and we don't want to rush this too much. So what we're going to do, we're over Hemel now. We're starting the arrival. They'd hand us over to London and we would get set up. So I would hand over to Petter now, just as I go and get everything set up in here. So Petter, I would say we've got Command Alpha, we've got MCP speed, LNAV, outhold, your controls.
My controls, and what basically I would do here, this is a short flight, so generally speaking, I would have probably taken the weather, the 80s earlier on. So you can even, on a really short flight that we do, for example, Girona over to Palma de Mallorca, which is 30-minute flight or so, then you can, during the climb, actually go and take the weather, or if you have the weather already. But normally you take the weather, hand that over, so that when the pilot flying now hands the controls to me, basically all I will do is I will take up my paperwork, I will start to fill in the takeoff time, off block time, do a fuel check here, verify that the fuel, that we don't have any fuel leaks, or which I talked about in one of my previous videos actually, and I will also start counting down the times to make sure that it makes sense. And I will tell the pilot flying, listen, according to the flight plan, we should be landing at 19:45. The FMC says whatever it says, and the schedule is this, just to give an overview of where we are and what the flight plan is telling us. So that's what I'm doing. Before, at the cruise phase. But obviously the cruise phase is super, super short here. And then whenever Ben is ready, then he can start to give me a brief.
Yeah, sure. I've just found another glitch actually, Petter. The box 2, the nav box 2, I can't change frequencies in here.
That's not good.
No, so you won't have your ILS, I'm afraid. So you're going to have to, you're kind of scary there actually. So I'll try not to look at you too much, but I'm going to, let's put the minimums here, 482. So I'm basically setting a basic flow here. So we're just setting at the moment down here, we have what we call our minimum. So this is the lowest we can go without seeing the runway effectively. We set a number in here, we get it from the chart. And on the chart, it says it is 482 feet today above sea level, which is about 200 feet above the ground.
Yeah.
And this is a lot easier in real life. I can tell you that straight away. This is very, very finicky. 481, 482. So that's good. So let's have a boxes, rates, bearings, bugs, brief. We've briefed most of this on the ground already. I'm just going to go through the pertinent points, Petter, if you're happy.
I'm happy.
All right. So we've got the descent in here. That's all set up. The approach, we know that we briefed it on the ground, the Hemel 1 Echo for the ILS runway 27 in East Midlands. And we've gone through the routing already. We've already checked this on the ground. We know the tracks and distances, they all work, because we need to be able to trust what's in the computer, because ultimately we're following this magenta line and we can only follow it if we know it's working. So we have to check each track distance, altitude, so we know then that we can trust it. We've already briefed that, so I'm just going to do the bits we couldn't do before.
Yeah, I also want to give a little bit of a shout out to Navigraph here. They do some fantastic stuff. Like it is super nice to be able to use the Navigraph plates when you like, we use them in the Pro course as well, and it just makes the whole experience so much more realistic.
Oh yeah, they're as real as the real thing. You know, I compare them to what we have, and I can't find the difference. So yeah, Navigraph, if you need charts or like flight planning, they're definitely the place to go.
And they're Swedish, so
there you go. Okay, so so the frequencies are for the ILS are 109.35. I've got it active on mine. I can't do it on yours, but I'm sure that will be fine. The ident
famous last words.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. Don't worry about it. India Echo, Mike Echo. The inbound course to the runway is 268. That's the magnetic course of the runway. And the airport elevation is 300 feet, which I've got set up here. So the pressurization knows basically where to program the pressurization in the cabin too.
What do you avatar? Scary ass avatar that they put in, and they couldn't even put him in a uniform.
What? All right, good. We got the minimums, so we're going down a 3-degree glide. So I'm going to just go into the FMC, just make sure we've already briefed the actual arrival. I'm just going to show you in here that we've got a 3-degree descent path coming down here, down to the minimums, which I would ask Petter, what do you think the minimums are, Petter?
My minimums are 482.
482, I agree. We just do an independent cross-check so we don't influence each other the wrong way, because Petter can be a bad influence sometimes. And we're going to, if we're not visual, not happy, not stable, we're going to do a go around. I'm going to press toga and I'm going to call go around flat 15, set go around thrust, positive rate, gear up, 400 feet. We're going to get LNAV engaged and we're going to climb straight ahead to 8.8 miles. So it says 9 miles in here. That's close enough to 8.8. Then it says turn right to the locator to 3,000 feet. 3,000 feet.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so we know LNAV will work.
Perfect.
So landing weight wise, let's see how heavy we're going to be. So we're landing with 4.8 tons. That's a healthy amount of fuel to be landing with. Actually, that's quite that saves a few grey hairs. So we've got 200 kilos to burn. So we're landing light in the max, 57.8 tons, which is light. And we'll go flap 30, shall we?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. We'll go auto brake 3, second detent reverse, and we're going to stop on the runway.
Well, yeah, sounds like a good idea. Shouldn't you be doing some Fedra Middle check or something as well?
The Fedra Millip check.
That's what I said.
Not the Fedra Pillock. Fedra Millip. Yeah, it's something that I do. This is just something that I do to make sure I've not forgotten anything at top of climb. I just check a few things, and we love acronyms, don't we, in aviation? You know, the airplane wouldn't get airborne without a few acronyms, and I've adapted one I used to use in light aircraft. And yeah, it works. It works for me anyway. I make sure that I've not missed anything. It's like an anti-embarrassment check, I call it. So yeah, it works for me. I check the fuel's good. I check the engines are looking good. Drift down altitudes. I make sure we've got the altimeter set properly. I check the MSA that we're flying over. Make sure I haven't forgotten the anti-ice. Make sure no one's forgotten to turn the lights off. Pressurization's good. So it's just like
it's a Fedra Middle.
Fedra Pillock. Fedra Milk.
People are asking where we're flying over. We've flown past Cambridge on the right-hand side, and long time ago, and now we're coming up to. Well, we've got Nottingham coming up soon to the right as well.
Coming up. Yeah, we got Nottingham out here. We go. Where are we? So I think we've kind of this. Welling is. I used to instruct many years ago, over 20 years ago in Cranfield. Welling is a waypoint near Cranfield. So we've got Northampton down here somewhere, Bedford. Derby, that's all kind of around this part of the world. Milton Keynes, we would have just passed over down there somewhere.
Yep.
So we're kind of there. So we're getting now ready for.
But 001. When ready to descend 6,000 feet on QNH 1013.
So when ready to descend altitude 6,000 feet, QNH 1013, but 01. Okay. Again, this is a little bit longer than the real world, but I'll set that. So set.
6,000 feet is checked, and we're coming up to the top of the descent there. So that's.
I'll get it going down, shall I?
Yeah, should we do some descent checks maybe?
Yes, please. I'll take control back in the descent checks.
Perfect. So we are in. What are we in? I can't see the FMA.
Don't be rude.
Okay, so your retard, LNAV, and MCP speed. We're just starting to descend. Your controls.
My controls and descent checks.
Descent checklist pressurization.
Land out 300.
NTIs.
Off.
Approach briefing and fuel.
Is discussed.
And airspeed and altitude bugs.
Are checked and set.
That's the descent checklist complete, sir.
All right, good. So the hard work's being done now. And should we see if we can get a direct routing somewhere? What do you reckon? Do you reckon air traffic will be kind to us?
Yeah. Unfortunately, air traffic control cannot see the name of the waypoints, so I can't really. There we go. But assessor 1, go direct Daventry 36, please.
Direct Daventry 36, but 01. Thank you very much.
Obviously, now we're getting a shortcut, so we might actually end up a little bit high. And we would know that if this max variant actually had a VNAV profile that we could see, but it doesn't. So yet again, a little bit of a snag.
Yeah, the VNAV obviously doesn't work.
Yeah, so that's correct. Execute.
Execute LNAV. Geez, it properly throws on the bank as well, doesn't it?
Oh, man, yeah.
Yeah, it's not gentle. Yeah, no. So how do we know? So how would you work out, Peter? How would you know if we're high or low here using the old-fashioned way?
The good old-fashioned way. So I would look at the amount of track miles that I have. You can go to the progress page here, and you'll see now, providing that your route is correct, you see that we have 36 miles. Okay, 36 miles landing. And then I'll look at my altitude, and I will take that times 3. So we've got 10,000 feet approximately. That means about 30 miles is what I need. And then plus about 1 nautical mile for each 10 knots that I need to decelerate. So we're at 230, so 3 miles more. So 33, 34 miles is what I would need, and we had 36.
It's looking all right, isn't it?
Yeah, it's looking pretty good.
So should we do the 10 checks on the way down then?
10 checks. Right. So we will then. Fuel is still okay. We've got no imbalances. We put the lights back on. And then we'll put the belts, make sure the belts are on. We should have put them on earlier, really, but we put them on now. Get them back from the toilets, and then we will give the cabin crew 10 minutes to landing.
Yeah, cabin crew, 10 minutes to landing.
Thank you, and do a recall.
Yeah, it's the dimmest recall in the world, but there we go. Recall checked.
Yeah, no, people are complaining a little bit that it's laggy, but it's just, restream together with the sim, together with us.
Yeah, YouTube, there's a lot of things going on here. I think our internet's fine. We've checked it beforehand. It just seems to be maybe a YouTube-y thing that's not liking it. But I'll try not to move the camera around too much.
No, huge thank you to OG Jakey for the super chat as well. Much appreciated. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
All support is greatly appreciated. It'll mean that Ben can buy a cup of coffee for his next earlies, which we all really, really want him to do.
Oh, geez, yeah. I'm surviving purely off caffeine at the moment, but I've got a first lay-in tomorrow. I'm hanging.
Cool. Are we descending, or is it just stuck there?
Yeah, I'm just slowing it down a little bit here. So hopefully, when you can't slow down and go down. This is maybe a little bit exaggerated. So to slow down, the aircraft simply pitches up to help it slow down. And then once it gets the speed that I want, it will start lowering the nose. And this is our rate of descent. This is telling us how many hundreds of feet per minute that we're descending. Oh. And it's, about 1,000 feet. So,
but the 001 continue to descend 4,000 feet.
Send out you 4,000 feet by the 001. Set.
4,000 feet, checks.
So far, it's there's faults in it, obviously. There's no VNAV.
No, but to be honest, like if you buy I don't know, how much did you pay for this simulator?
Yeah, I got the cheapskate version actually. I paid the £70. Did you go for that one?
No, my poor. Well, I didn't buy it, but my poor oldest son did, and he bought like that premium version that was supposed to come with loads of different aircrafts that was still already preloaded, and he's had huge problems with that. And then you go in and you fly the max here, and VNAV doesn't work, altitude into vent doesn't work. I mean, I'm not impressed. I can't say that I'm impressed by this.
Yeah. If you're paying that much, I mean, it does kind of feel like you're beta testing it. As opposed to actually a pretty fully fledged launch. But I guess they will get it fixed. I would imagine it's just frustrating in the meantime, and I've had it hang a few times as well. But I guess we've got to try and make the best of it while until they do that. But
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's flyable, but the iFly, the boat version of the Max is so much better from what I've understood.
Yeah. The 2020 iFly is, I think it's another level. It's study level. It's a bit like the PMDG. And that if you want something that's working properly, hopefully all that's going to migrate across to 2024 once they've kind of figured it all out. And that really will be something quite special.
Navin, could you put the approach plate up, please? I'm just making sure that we are there. We go. So, but the 01 continue to descend 2,000 feet, and you are cleared for the ILS approach runway 27. Call me back established.
Okay, 10 out to 2,000 feet, cleared for the ILS Wilco Butter 01. So set.
2,000 feet. Checks.
Should we do should we do a frisk and approach checks, or just the approach checks?
Oh, well, okay. So frisk, that will be me then. So it's frequencies. It's set on your side. I'm not so sure about mine. Rings. That's something we do around the fix.
Yeah, the rings. That's another thing that doesn't work. The fix page doesn't. If I put runway 27 in, it will just say, "Oh, hang on a minute. Maybe they're going to prove me wrong."
Thank you, Judy. By the way, that's another cup of coffee for Ben. So soon he'll be able to survive his next earlies.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very kind. It doesn't work. So I put the fixed rings in, but no, they're not doing anything.
Okay, so that's fix rings. The ident. Let's see if the ILS ident is up. Then
it's behind. Okay, doesn't it? India Echo Mike Echo.
India Echo Mike Echo. And that's the courses then 268. So frisk complete.
Okay, descent checks, please.
Descent checklist. So altimeter instruments.
Set and cross-checked.
Approach 8s.
Checked and set.
That's the approach checklist complete, sir.
Thank you very much.
Cool. And happy Thanksgiving, by the way, to everyone. I think it's tomorrow, isn't it?
I think it's today, actually.
It's today. All right.
I think
happy
it's today.
to everyone in the US. Great to have you here on Thanksgiving, escaping your family. We all appreciate it.
And in the meantime, I've just called for flap 1, Petter.
Speed checks and flaps 1.
And we'll go flap 5 as well, please.
Speed checks, flaps 5.
Let's go. I feel lost without range rings. I'm so used to seeing range rings in here that it looks kind of naked without it.
Yeah,
but,
we used to call our base captain the Onion because he was the one that came up with the rings originally. Yuan.
Did he?
Yeah, so we called him the Onion because of the rings, onion rings.
Nice. I didn't know that. Yeah, but yeah, there you go. So I'm so used to it that it just feels wrong not to have them.
Cool.
Okay,
so
I'm going to arm the approach mode now. So
yeah, we will clear for the approach. That makes sense.
So you can see that the Vorlock and glide slope are armed. I'm going to reduce my rate of descent because we're actually below the glide quite a lot here. So we don't want to level off too much if we can. We probably will now, but...
One to go.
Thank you. Checked. So I'm going to set the runway heading now of 268.
Perfect. That's localizer capture.
Thank you very much. Runway heading 268. All right, let's see what we can see.
Glide slope is live.
Thank you very much. Right, can anyone see a runway? Ah, yeah.
By the way, guys, again, when it comes to this in the pro course, we're showing all kinds of non-precision approaches, category 3, auto lands, missed approaches, how we do that, what we deal with, like all of it. This is just a demonstration of what me and Ben can do when we just fly the aircraft. We don't go into too much of the explanations today.
Yeah. You get everything. You get everything from a full cold dark setup, the full flight profile, every type of approach, go arounds, plus your Cat C qualification in Madeira as well. It's a lot of fun. Plus all your workbooks, charts. Yeah. It's all there.
Navin, can you get the approach chart up again? There we go. Okay, so that's at 268. Perfect. Because someone said 269, but
yeah, it might have changed.
Cool.
Right, I tell you what, because I don't know how this is going to fly coming in here, shall we configure, get the gear down a bit early?
Yeah, sure.
Let's do it.
Thanks a lot, Emmanuel, by the way. And
okay, so gear down, flap 15, landing checks to flaps.
Okay, so gear down, speed checks, flaps 15, and engine start switches.
Okay, they are continuous.
Recall.
Checked.
Speed brake.
Is armed green light.
Landing gear.
Down 3 greens.
Auto brake.
Is 3.
Thank you. Holding on flaps.
So there's glide slope capture. So I'm going to set the missed approach altitude in case it all goes horribly wrong. We've got it set. And I'll call for flap 30, please.
Okay, speed checks, flaps 30. And Josephine, great to have another Patreon here. Thanks a lot, Josephine. We will be forwarding all of this money to Ben for his caffeine consumption. And
I am very grateful.
Flaps.
So we've got 30 green light.
And we're just waiting for landing lights. So Butter 001, you clear to land runway 27. The surface wind is 250 degrees, 12 knots. And I just want to tell you good luck. We're all counting on you.
Oh, geez. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, clear to land, Butter 01. Yeah, I tell you what, it was blowing at absolute hoolie in Stansted here in the UK a few days ago. Yeah, gusting like 40 knots. So it was a little bit sporty. But let's hope for this is a little bit smoother.
That's what you want, though. It is when it's sporty, it's fun. You know.
You know what? I shouldn't probably admit this on a live stream, but I actually enjoy it. I actually prefer it when there's a big storm or something. It gets it. You know, on days like this, it's nice, it's easy. But I kind of like the challenge.
That's the thing. I remember that. Like when you disconnect, and you really feel the aircraft, and you can kind of like wrestle it down, which is fun. And when I say that, it's you guys will probably not enjoy it, but we would never, if we don't feel safe, we go around, and we've done that many times. But it's about you just really feel it. Anyway, landing lights.
They're on.
Before landing checks complete.
Right, shall I see how this goes? So what I'm going to be doing, just to give you a heads up, everyone, the ground speed is here. If you halve your ground speed, that's how many hundreds of feet per minute you roughly need to maintain the glide slope. So about 130, I'm thinking about 650 feet a minute-ish. And I'm going to try and keep that fixed in the window. So let's kind of see how this goes. Okay, hold on to your hats.
Yeah, boarding time. That joke never gets old. Just so you know.
Right. Okay. So let's see how this flies. Let's see how this. I'm looking at the puppies now. So I'm trying to keep 2 reds, 2 whites. So I'm not sure how well I'm going to do. We'll see. The glide slope looks like it's not really matching.
No, just follow the poppies.
The speed's a little bit low. Checked.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah. See, look, it's going to. I'm just going to lower the nose.
There we go. So 3 whites. Speed on.
And continue.
Thank you.
Checked. Shouting glide slope, it shouldn't do. Oh, it's got a lot of ground effect, this. It wants to float forever.
Speed break up.
Now, I haven't got the reversers working. I'm not sure why.
Okay, so no reverses. 100 knots.
Checked.
80 knots.
Checked.
And 60 knots.
I'm going to bring it to a stop here, I think.
Yep, sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, the brakes aren't the best either. But I've got full braking on here at the minute. It feels like they're covered in oil or something. But yeah, let's see. We'll bring it to a stop.
Okay.
There we go. There we go.
I can almost hear the applause from the back.
Yeah, a big sigh of relief. Finally, day 5 done. I mean, it flew, didn't it? I mean, there's gremlins in it. There's glitches. But it flew. It worked.
I love the standard we've set. It flew.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I wasn't sure it was. So I'm just glad that we managed to get from A to B and not crash.
Yeah, but I mean, it's good. We should mention as well that the pro course is on the NG. So
yeah.
The pro course, when we're talking about that, when we go in and we give the 10 hours of instruction, that's flown on the 737 NG. At the max, as you can see, we're following the exact same procedures. So it's only a matter of finding where all the instruments are and all the indicators and buttons and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's very, very similar. And we are thinking about, aren't we, to do because in order for you to fly the MAX when you've flown the NG, you have to do a slight conversion training, right? Or the familiarization training, which includes a little bit getting to know MCAS and how it works and how it doesn't work, and a little bit of that. And we are thinking about potentially adding that onto the pro course as well. We have not done that yet, though, but it's something that we're thinking about doing, and we don't know when that's going to happen, but hopefully in the future.
Yeah, I think it should be, and it's important to note as well that to get the benefit of the pro course, we've got people in there that don't actually even have a sim, but are just really fascinated to look at how we fly the aircraft in real life. You know, the mindset, the thought processes, the checklist discipline, all the way through to people that've got amazing home sims actually built into their home, and everyone in between.
Yeah.
So, you can have the PMDG, you can have the Zebo mod in X-Plane, or just be fascinated. And, there's a lot of people in there that have just gone in there to watch and to soak up, 10 hours, which is now 24 hours of just aviation goodness.
Yeah. One thing as well, Ben has his Instagram account. You can see that up there. That's Airline Pilot Performance. Go and check out his Instagram account, because if you like these kind of like pro tips, he works a lot with actual pilots. I am more towards the general public. He has so far been mostly towards the pilots who are professionals, who wants to improve their performance, hence the name. So go and check it out. He has a lot of good stuff on Instagram. So Airline Pilot Performance. And I'm hoping to see much more of you, Ben, because I really like working together with you. It's like working with a slightly worse looking twin.
Yeah, I won't disagree. After 5 days of earlies, I wouldn't disagree with that. But it's awesome. I mean, working with a mate. I've been with you in the sim. We've flown together in the sim, and we've done all sorts. So doing this is just fun.
Yeah. So once again, guys, up here is the QR code for the pro course. If you're interested in checking that out, it's a 30% reduction this weekend up until Monday evening. I would love to see you there. So
yeah.
This was just, we just wanted to give you a little bit of a taste of what we're doing, but also I'm hoping to do more live streams going forward in one form or another. And we would love for you to give us some thumbs up and maybe recommend this to your friends that are interested in aviation, because we are going to want to do a lot more of this. Yeah. I mean, it gets my instructor part kind of flowing. And I'm sitting here and I'm producing loads and loads of videos, and I'm thinking about content, and I'm scripting content. But I can feel when we do things like this, I can feel that spark going again. So I want to do more of this.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and this is a great thing. If you've got a friend or a loved one that you know would love this, this is a great time to get it as a Christmas present as well, because you have a lifetime access to this, and it's never been this cheap before, let alone doubling the content. So this is you know, it's the best offer we've ever put together for this.
And by the way, before I forget it, guys, tomorrow I have bonus content coming out here on Mentour Now as well. So there's a new video. There's a 5th video this month. We're releasing it tomorrow, Friday, the 29th. So tomorrow afternoon, evening, there's going to be a new video coming out on Mentour Now, which you're not expecting. So just be aware of that, and don't be surprised if it comes up in your feed.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Petter, it's been a pleasure. It's been great to meet so many of you as well. Hopefully see a lot more of you in the future. It's been a real pleasure.
It has. Take care. Have an absolutely fantastic evening wherever you are, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.